you, my name is Eliana Lee and I am a violinist from New York. I'm a rising senior at Hackley High School and I'm so excited to be able to perform and train with NYO-U this summer at Miami and Carnegie Hall. Today, I'll share some tips from my personal experiences, I hope they're helpful, about what to do when something unexpected happens on stage. Now, when this topic comes up, a lot of musicians start freaking out and a lot of anxiety because we all don't want to think about it and we all just hope for the best when we step on stage. But from many personal experiences of super wild things happening on stage, I think that sometimes it's good to prepare yourself just in case. Let's get started. Tip 1, stop, think, listen, then act. Sorry, that's a lot in one step, but I'll break down the steps with an embarrassing story of mine. So when I was 12 years old, I had the honor of holding a solo performance at Carnegie Hall for the first time. So that was super exciting, but that also meant that I was really nervous. So my hands were shaking, legs were shaking, palms super sweaty, not ideal. But also, 2 weeks before my performance, I had changed my violin to a full-size violin, which is not a really good idea. I don't know why I did that. So that meant that I didn't know how to tune my instrument because when you change to a full size, the tuning is a little different because you have to use your pegs, and I didn't know how to do that. And I had a performance at Carnegie. So from the beginning, wasn't an ideal situation. So when I was backstage before my performance, I asked an older friend to tune my instrument for me, and she was like, you'll be fine, like I tuned it, it's fine, it'll stay. And I believed her. So as soon as I walked on the stage and I checked my strings, to my absolute terror, my A string and D string had become F and C strings, and my G string was about to fall off my instrument. That's what extreme temperature changes do, and I did not know that at the time. And of course that evening, I was playing the first movement of the Bruch Violin Concerto that starts off with that extremely long open G string. Now let's go over what I did do in that situation versus what I should have done in that situation. So I kind of just stood there, just in shock, panicking, staring at my messed up strings, not knowing what to do. And yeah, I think I kind of just spaced out for a good 3 minutes. And then I went over to my pianist, which is the one good decision I made that evening, and I asked her, what should I do? And she told me, let's just go backstage and retune and come back. And I should have listened to her because she was smart, she was right, but did I? No. Instead, I saw my concerned mother sitting in the front row of the hall, and I decided she was the one who was going to save me from the situation. And the next thing I knew, I heard a large boom, and I was face to face with my mom. So I jumped off the stage at Carnegie Hall. Don't know why I did it. Don't recommend it. And as I was looking around while my mom was frantically tuning my instrument, guess what? I noticed 2 wonderful staircases on both sides of the hall that I just did not notice. So I didn't have to jump. So if I had stopped and thought about my circumstances and the options I had in that situation, what could I have done? I could have listened to my pianist, gone backstage and got my violin tuned and came back. I could have looked around and discovered the stairs. They were obviously just right there. I just didn't see them. And third, I could have at least attempted to tune my instrument because I kind of had an idea of what to do, but I wasn't sure. I doubted myself. All of this was better than jumping off the stage. In these situations when really unexpected things happen, it's hard to think things through because you're so panicky and shocked. So I think it's really important to listen to the people around you, especially the adults. And that's what I did not do, and I should have listened to my pianist. She was mad at me for a week. It's important to realize that what happened already happened, and you just have to calm down and slowly think through your options and keep your ears open to other people's suggestions. Tip 2. Have something to think about while you perform, other than the notes. Now, in making this video, I talked to a lot of my musician friends and asked them what they think about when they perform, especially after memory slip or other mistakes. And I think it's a really good idea because it'll help you focus better and stay composed. This is really cheesy, but when I was little, I still do this, I would make up a really silly story while I would perform, and the music would kind of act as my voice telling the really silly story. I know it's really embarrassing, but I still do it because it does help me. And I've had so many experiences with memory slipping, and so it really helped me. And I think it's a really good idea. Because rather than just thinking about what note comes next, sometimes it's better to think in terms of musical ideas, or in my case, storylines. Different people have different techniques, so I recommend that you take some time to think about what works best for you. I have one friend who thinks about nature scenes. I'm not that creative, but she's really artistic, so that's what she does, and it helps a lot. I know another friend, and she focuses on the rhythm of the piece instead of the pitches of the notes, and that helps her. Whatever it is, try not to focus too deeply on the notes themselves, especially during a memory slip, because after the memory slip, thinking about something else will help you move on from it and also continue without more mistakes. Tip 3, Smile. It's okay. I know, it's hard to smile when you're panicking and you're having a major existential crisis, but do it anyways, because the audience will feel less uneasy and you'll feel less panicky. The problem could be an issue with your instrument, member in your chamber group, the stage, the audience, the air, the temperature, whatever it is. But remember that you really can't control these things, and things just happen, and it sucks, but you can't really do anything about it. If it's a memory slip or another type of mistake, trust your practicing and trust your abilities and just try your best to move on from it. Remember that everyone deals with these kinds of situations, even non-musicians. So just smile, breathe, and remind yourself, convince yourself that it's okay. And just try your best to focus on your music and your playing despite the circumstances. And maybe like me, that evening might just turn into a really funny story that you'd be comfortable sharing with others in the future. So to quickly summarize my 3 points, stop, think, listen, then act. Try to keep your mind on something else besides just the notes, and smile. Thanks for joining me in this NYO-U mini masterclass on what to do when something unexpected happens during a performance. If you found this video useful, please give it a like and subscribe to NYO-USA.